guys, welcome to Lunchtime Draw Time. I did not shoot an opening for this video because my job is working in a warehouse and I have to unload trucks of freight every now and then. So after about 4 hours of unloading a truck and stacking and unstacking and restacking pallets, you get to feel what the French call nasty. And so I felt kind of gross. I was like, I think I just want to draw today. So today we're going to be talking about The Phantom. We're going to be talking about actually the movie and a little bit of the comic book. If you don't know what The Phantom is, you're in luck, because that is what this episode is about. So, The Phantom, a quick rundown, is basically about this kid who gets shipwrecked because of some pirates that took over his ship. There was a fight, the ship burned, and he kind of gets stranded on this island, and I guess he grows up on the island. He learns how to kind of be a jungle ninja, I guess, and he fights pirates and plunderers and stuff like that. Kind of defends the people of this island, which in the comic book is I think it's an island somewhere in Africa or something like that. It's a jungle in Africa. In the movie, I think it's somewhere it's a different place, and I don't remember why. I think it was like a budget issue, like they had to shoot somewhere else, so they had to rewrite the script to be somewhere in Asia. Anyway, so he is a jungle-based superhero dressed in a sort of ninja motif, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, especially not being purple. The purple throws me because that doesn't blend well in the jungle. I'm not sure what the idea was there, but whatever. So I don't have what you would call a healthy attention span or good focus. Ever since I can remember, I've enjoyed watching TV and drawing. I've enjoyed listening to music while I read, or I like to do multiple things at once, I guess. I think my brain needs constant stimulation from multiple sources. So when I started watching this movie, I started thinking about it, and I was like, I think I have the first issue of The Phantom somewhere. So while the movie's going, I'm kind of rummaging through my comic books, and I find the first issue that, it was a 1989 or 88, something like that, relaunch of that DC did of The Phantom. So I started looking through that. I didn't intend to read it, I just meant to kind of look at it and see how close the movie matched the feel of the comic book. And it was pretty close. I actually think the movie did a better job of portraying the Phantom than the comic book did, which I don't know if I'm in the minority or majority with that opinion, but I enjoyed the movie way more than I enjoyed the comic book. I'll talk about some of the differences here in a second. As I'm watching the movie, I kind of find myself reading the comic book and liking the movie more. It just struck me more. So let me go over the cast real quick. The Phantom is played by Billy Zane, circa 1996, I think is when that movie came out. Funny side note, whenever I was watching the movie, I was like, man, this movie's pretty good for coming out in 91. I don't know why I had it in my head that movie came out like in 1990 or 1991. And I'm like, the effects are a little cheesy, but they're okay for like a 1990 movie. It was a 1996 movie, and when I found out, I was like, oh, that's why it didn't do so great. But anyway, yeah, so it had Billy Zane, it had Christy Swanson, it had Catherine Zeta-Jones, it had Treat Williams as like the main bad guy. Catherine Zeta-Jones and James Remar are like his henchmen. And it also has, I know his name's Carrie something, I can't remember his full name, but he was the bad guy in Mortal Kombat, the first movie. If you remember that movie, maybe I'll go back and rewatch that. I know I shouldn't. I know that's a mess, but whatever. I might. Anyway, yeah, so it's got all these pretty good actors, actually. I actually like the cast, and the writing, the plot is not bad. But I will say what I like that the movie did that the comic book did not do was make me like the Phantom. In the comic book, he's just this like really stoic, stone-faced, like grizzled dude in a purple outfit, and he doesn't really do anything in that comic book. He just kind of shows up and looks angry, and he scares some people, and that's kind of it. I think there is like a gunfight later on in the comic book, but like it kind of takes a while to get there. When it happens, it's I didn't really care for it. In the movie, they take the time to kind of introduce the character in a way that's interesting, right? Like they introduce the Phantom, and he's this guy who's really just doing his best to understand what the legacy of the Phantom means to him. He sees the ghost of his father, and he has conversations with that, which is super interesting, right? That's like Dexter level psychosis that he's got going on. Honestly, he's a very likable actor, like and character. So I thought they did that very well. Like I was watching it and I was like, well, you know what? This is actually kind of fun to watch. This is entertaining and more than I thought I might have felt when I just remembered seeing this movie when I was like, I don't know, 10 years old, something like that. So the movie opens up with James Remar being a generally nefarious person, but he shows up on this island and he's looking for a skull, a golden skull, I think it is. The whole plot of this movie is that you need like 3 skulls, like one of them's gold, one of them's silver, and one of them is what is the other one? The other one's like blue, or maybe it's the crystal one from Indiana Jones. I don't remember. That's not really that important. The movie was about more than that. So he shows up and he's like rummaging through this grave inside of a cave, and somewhere across the island, for inexplicably, the Phantom is just sitting in this stone throne. I know there's a lot of rhyming going on here. The grave and the cave and the stone throne. It's not intentional. I think that's just the way I perceive it. I don't even remember if that's actually how it happened. Anyway, the Phantom is just sitting in this cave somewhere, and he just somehow knows that there's a bad guy in town and I'm about to blow his mind, and he gets on. He doesn't talk like that. The Phantom gets on his horse and they just kind of ride to whatever cave it is that James Remar's in and runs him off. James Remar gets away with the skull, and it turns out that James Remar is the one who killed the Phantom's father, who was the previous Phantom. There have been like generations of Phantoms that I guess have lived on this island. I don't remember them going into too much detail about like the mythology of the Phantom, but they may have. Maybe that's just a memory lapse on my part. So the movie kind of proceeds with the Phantom going into, I think it's like New York City. He runs into a girl that he used to know back in college. Again, they really don't go into a whole lot of detail with this stuff, but I really don't think they need to. There's a lot of stuff to enjoy in this movie, and it doesn't quite get in its own way by like having to explain everything. You get the idea, you get the gist of the relationship there. They used to know each other in college. I guess there was like a romance there. Maybe it didn't work out. I don't know. Like I said, it probably doesn't matter. You move on. I mean, you know they're gonna fall in love in the movie again anyway, so it's fine, whatever. You get introduced to Treat Williams, who's the bad guy, and again, these are just actors' names. I don't remember the names of the characters. I think Kit Walker is the name of the Phantom, and that's the only name I remembered throughout this whole thing. So Treat Williams is the bad guy, and he kind of reveals his plot. He needs to collect all 3 of these skulls to get the powers of a god. I'm not really clear again on what the appeal of it was, but whatever. You get a death ray out of it. He's a bad guy. He wants it. Good enough. Moving on. So you get to the end of the movie, and the bad guy ends up getting all three skulls, kind of like, he's gonna. And it turns out that there was a fourth skull the whole time, and you realize that the ring that the Phantom wears is part of the three skull special. He ends up using the skull ring to shoot laser beams back at the dude. I didn't know he could shoot things out of that skull. Like, use it more. He's got two guns that run out of bullets, I assume. I don't think it happens in the movie because it's a movie. You never run out of ammo when you don't need to. But you got a ring that shoots a death ray. Maybe use that ring a little bit more. I don't know. I mean, that's not what a superhero would do. I get it. Fine. But maybe don't complain that you've got bad guys so much if you're not willing to finish the job. I don't know. It doesn't matter. So you basically go throughout the whole movie, and it's just a big adventure. And I think it was meant to feel a little bit like Indiana Jones meets Batman kind of a thing. Like, it's fun, it's kind of dark, but it's always entertaining. And that is my brief, albeit incoherent, review of The Phantom. I would probably recommend it. If you're looking for something kind of fun to watch, I would check that out. But that is going to do it for me, guys. Thank you for watching. If you have something you'd like me to review, maybe a comic series or a movie, leave it in the comments. Let me know. I'll check it out, and I'll give you a very vague review over it. So subscribe, like, comment, share, and the rest, etc. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until that day, good luck and Godspeed.